Good evening and welcome to Big Future LinkedIn Career Week. My name is Giselle, my pronouns are she, her, and I'm so excited to be kicking off Career Week with our first event, Fast Growing Jobs and the Skills You Need. Thank you so much for joining us today. Many of you are finishing up school and gearing up for summer, so you could be anywhere today, but we're so glad you decided to spend this time with us. This week is for you to get inspired, find your passion, and access resources to start your path towards your dream career. Big Future LinkedIn Career Week is a special week of live, free events where high school students and the adults that care about them can get their questions answered about careers and taking the right first step after high school. We hope that you'll join us all week to learn about the most in-demand jobs for early career starters, how to build your community and network, and how to craft your own LinkedIn profile. A little bit more about me. My name is Giselle Martinez. I recently graduated from Rio Grande City High School in my hometown, Rio Grande City, Texas, and I'm currently preparing for my fall quarter at Northwestern University, majoring in journalism, and I am a Big Future ambassador. I'm one of over 9,000 high school student leaders who help others to plan for life after high school. I became a Big Future ambassador because I wanted to spread awareness about college and career resources to those in my district. Everyone wants to find a career that they're passionate about and hone the skills needed to get there. But how do you know where to start? Today, we're joined by experts at TikTok and LinkedIn to answer your questions about fast-growing jobs and the skills you need. Plus, you hear about the latest research from LinkedIn about kickstarting your career. So get your questions ready and welcome to Big Future LinkedIn Career Week.
So get your questions ready.
And welcome to the Big Future Live family.
Kai wants to know,
what are you looking for in a student when deciding to give a scholarship?
It really does depend on the college that you're looking at.
How did you find what you were truly passionate about?
My internships really help to focus what I want to do.
You're constantly learning and growing. That's what college is all about.
Thank you, Giselle, and thank you to all the students and caring adults joining us for our first event of Big Future LinkedIn Career Week, Fast Growing Jobs and the Skills You Need with our friends at TikTok and LinkedIn. My name is Greg Rafal. I use he, him pronouns, and I work here on the Big Future team. Big Future is a team of former educators, parents, college and career planning experts, and just a group of folks who are committed to helping students like you take the right first step after high school. And we worked with our friends at LinkedIn to put together this special week of events to help you get your career questions answered. Now, as Giselle said, our goal at Big Future Live and at Career Week is to answer your questions. So tonight, you're not going to sit through a long presentation. We don't have a ton of PowerPoint slides that we're going to go through with you. This is a virtual community powered by students like you, parents like you, educators like you, and of course, your questions. Now, we only have 45 minutes tonight, and we have a ton of folks with us already, which means we probably have a ton of questions to get through. So let's get right into it and meet our guests for today. Awesome. Hello, hello. I'll ask each of you to introduce yourselves. Tell us your name, where do you call home, what do you do, where do you work? And lastly, what do you love most about your job? Gianna, let's start with you.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm Gianna Parenti. I'm an associate news editor at LinkedIn. I sit on our editorial team covering all things job search and careers for Gen Z. I write a weekly newsletter called Keeping the Balance, which is for Gen Z professionals like us about how to navigate our careers. And I get to speak with amazing people my age on how they're paving their own career path. I call home New Jersey. I'm still living at home and planning to move to New York in the coming months, so very exciting. And the best part of my job is being able to connect with my peers and amplify their voices in my newsletter and just build my network and make lifelong relationships through interviewing, which is what I love to do.
That's awesome, Gianna. Glad to have another East Coaster. I'm in DC on the call tonight. And Odalise Jasmine, let's hear about you.
Hey.
I'm Odalis Jasmine. How do I give a brief introduction? I'm a Zillennial, first generation Latina Honduran, proud Honduran American. And I call home Southeast San Diego. If anyone knows about San Diego, there's a little tiny part called Southeast. And that's where you get a lot of the culture, the immigrants, the sazon, as I like to say. And I also work by day at TikTok. And so I'm kind of an internal journalist. So Gianna, you and I are kind of the same in different ways. I like to say I'm an internal journalist, as in I interview employee stories. I am on the organizational culture team, which that can sound confusing. What it is I'm focused on amplifying the employee experience through stories, through events, through content. And speaking of content, I also have a podcast, as you see. I have a podcast called Hella Latina, and it's all about amplifying first-generation voices and Latinos in the community, especially the immigrant and first-generation community, as there's a lot of situations that we go through that I feel like are so common for us. And so I want folks to feel like they're not alone. My favorite part about what I do is I'm amplifying stories within TikTok, outside of TikTok, stories that matter, employees that matter, and just doing what I love every single day.
That's amazing. Odalis, Gianna, thank you for everything you do. And thank you for being a part of Big Future LinkedIn Career Week. I see a lot of questions coming in, so I hope y'all are ready. But before we get to those, tonight's event is all about getting these questions answered about fast-growing jobs and skills we need. But I'd love to ask our audience a question before we get started. How many of you, students who are out there, how many of you know exactly what you want to do after high school? Because I know you probably get that question all the time. Do you know what you want to do after high school? So some of you might say, yes, 100%. I know that I want to do whatever, or I have an idea, but I'm still kind of exploring. That's why I'm here tonight, obviously. Or others who might say, I have no idea. Gianna, Odalis, Greg, help me out tonight. There's a quick poll on your screen. Go ahead and answer that just to get us started. And while you were answering that quick poll, just a couple of housekeeping items for everyone. On your screen, there's an Ask a Question box on the bottom right here, where you can type in your questions. We're all about answering your questions tonight, so do not be shy. And bear with us. We have a lot of folks on the call tonight, but we're going to answer as many questions as possible. We'll keep going fast here. And if you miss anything during today's event or have to walk away from your computer or your phone screen for a moment, don't worry. The recording to this event and all of our Big Future LinkedIn Career Week events are going to be available on demand at bigfuture.org/live. So let's see, how many of you know what you want to do after high school? It looks like about 65% of you have an idea of what you want to do, but maybe you're still exploring a little bit, and that's okay. Others of you have no idea. That's also okay. And for those of you who are 100% sure, you probably want to work at TikTok. That's probably why you're here, let's be honest. So we're starting to see all of these questions coming in. Let's not waste any more time. Odalis, Gianna, are you all ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Let's dive in. Our first question is for you, Gianna, and this is from Christine. Christine wants to know, what are the fastest growing jobs in 2023 and in the future?
Amazing question. So this data is coming from our 2023 Guide to Kickstarting Your Career, which published 2 weeks ago from LinkedIn. And just some context before we get into the data is each year LinkedIn puts out this report looking at the top jobs, industries, and regions to launch your career. And this year we looked at 2 groups. So people with bachelor's degrees and people without bachelor's degrees. And so the fastest growing jobs that we found for recent grads with bachelor's degrees, the top 5 were product management, number 2, consulting, number 3, purchasing, 4, human resources, and 5, business development. So for some context, product management is a broad job function, but within that, you could be a product manager, a product owner. And so for consulting, you could be a business consultant, planning associate, and so on.
That's a great question, Christine. And Gianna, thanks so much for going through that. Folks at home, you see on your screen, there's a link to the guide to kickstarting your career as well. So if you go to that link, you can find even more information in that link in that report from LinkedIn. Our next question, I'm going to pass to you, Odalise. This is from Joshua. Joshua wants to know, what are the biggest obstacles for career growth? That's a big one.
Ooh, that's like a existential crisis type of question. I'm glad you're thinking about this now. Biggest obstacles for career growth, I think, is staying true to yourself. I say that because being in high school and coming from where I come from, like I come from a really low income area where I didn't see a lot of folks go to college. I didn't see a lot of folks, quote unquote, in these tech jobs or in this, I don't even want to say success, because there's so many different ways to be successful. But I feel like I compared myself to a lot of people and I tried to pave my path the way other people paved theirs. And I found myself following a career that I wasn't necessarily excited about. And I think that's the biggest thing I tell myself now is like, girl, take it slow. Like you can do this, like just keep playing. And college is the way for you to kind of explore and see what you like to do, what you don't like to do, what you want to do more of. But I think the biggest obstacle is comparison. And when you do find yourself comparing, because it's a natural human instinct, think about why you're comparing yourself. Maybe I'm comparing myself to Greg's career, but what is it about his career that I'm comparing? Maybe I really love that he gets to work on content. Maybe I should jump into content and do something in my own realm, but don't be afraid to paint your own path that may be non-traditional, may look a little different, and keep playing and dreaming in your career, which I'll touch on a little more later.
That's amazing advice, Odalise, and honestly, great for high school students, but also great for other folks or other adults like myself to hear. So thanks for sharing that. Our next question is from Giovanna. And Giovanna wants to know which jobs involving political science and technology will grow within the next few years. Gianna, do you want to take that one?
Happy to. So I think the biggest thing there for tech is the fastest growing job being product management. And when I went through that list of jobs before, the thing that's really unique about it is they're highly transferable. So you could be a product manager in a tech company like LinkedIn or TikTok, or you could be a product manager in a healthcare company. So they're really transferable across industries. And we know that Gen Z loves to job hop and change roles. So it's really cool that you're able to gain experience at one company in one field and move to the next. But with that said, there's no product management major that you're going to find likely if you're going to a 4-year college, but you can get experience in tangential majors, if you will, like computer science or business. And really to land any job these days, the important thing is owning and honing your skills, especially soft skills or personal skills. Those are really important to land any job. So, and that will take you, like I said before, from one field into the next.
That's a great point, Gianna, about these transferable skills and jumping from one thing to the next. Odalise, our next question is from you, and this is from Maya. Maya wants to know, is it okay to switch between career choices if some options seem better than others? And this goes to what you just said, Gianna, but Odalise, you want to chime in here?
100%. Yes. If you look at my resume, it looks like it doesn't make total sense. I was a PR major, public relations, went into PR because my brother told me that he knew someone that likes to talk and write a lot. And he's like, I know you like those two things, so maybe go into that major. That's how I got into that major. And I was like, okay, because I didn't know. And so I worked in PR for 4 months before I realized, this is not what I want to do for the rest of my life. So let me go find something else. I don't recommend anyone doing this, but I left my job. I didn't accept the offer that they offered me. It was an internship. And I took the train down from literally San Francisco, took it, I don't know if you are all familiar with the Bay, but it's an hour train ride. took it to this little city called Redwood City. And I went to a networking event and I met my former boss there, and I worked with her for 3 years. And I did marketing there. And then I went into events at LinkedIn. And then from LinkedIn, I went into now content at TikTok. And people would look at my resume and be like, what else do you do? Right. But I think it's all with the same mission of, again, amplifying important stories, whether it's through an event, whether it's through content. And there's so many different ways to think of content. And so it's about how you tell your career story. It's not about what job titles you have. I always say I chase impact more than I do titles. The title can say project manager of AI, and I can still be doing something impactful. And I think that's what I would want all of you to think about. What is it that you really love, and what is the impact that you want to make, and follow that?
I love that. That's such a good first step for anyone who's just thinking about your career. Like, don't think, yes, think about all the jobs that are out there, but just think about your impact. Think about your mission. What do you really want to like accomplish in life, right? Great advice, please. Giovanni has a question here. How will AI affect future jobs? This is another big question. Gianna, can you take that one?
Sure. That's the burning question everybody wants to know. I think, I saw this quote once, or it was written somewhere, and it was like, AI won't take your job, but somebody using AI will. So I think 100% it will get leverage in, incorporated into our workflow. It has for me in my own job. And I think it's just getting used to it and testing it out and working with it and like seeing all of its capabilities rather than resisting it, because it is going to affect some jobs more than others, but it's likely going to be incorporated into many of our workflows at some point in our careers. So you can play with it now. It's free. You can see how, I'm sure some high school students already have, but you can play with it and just understand, how to speak to it and prompt it and stuff like that. And rather than resist it. But I think Gen Z is very willing to embrace, AI and how it will impact our day-to-day jobs and schoolwork.
Can I add a little story here? Because I love AI. And as a content creator, you think I'd be terrified of it. But I'm like, no, I can create so much more content now. As a content creator, I have my podcast. I create all of my social media posts are using AI. I don't just post the AI posts because sometimes context is off. And to Gianna's point, it's going to benefit those who use AI. But I also want to give another shout out to AI because my mom is a Spanish speaker. She doesn't speak any English, but she has a jewelry business and she's been using AI to promote her business. And it's just been the coolest thing to see. It can really help so many of our communities as well. So I love AI. It's a great thing to use. It's just about how you use it.
Two really great insights about AI. Thank you both so much for sharing. And yeah, we'll see what the future has in store. Our next question is from Suthlaya, and they want to know, what college did you attend and what was your major? I think you both mentioned a little bit about this, but I'll let you both kind of maybe elaborate a little bit more. And we'll start with you, Gianna.
Sure. So I graduated just 2 years ago from Syracuse University, and I was a journalism major. I studied newspaper and online journalism, even though everybody said newspaper was dead. I refused to be on camera, but here I am. And when we were talking a bit before about the survey, which I thought was so interesting, on if you know exactly what you want to do after high school, I was super laser focused in high school. And when I found out I wanted to do journalism, I set my sights on it and was very in my lane. But I think there's a lot of benefits to that, but also just embracing those exploratory stages. And like you were saying before, changing roles, changing your major, really embracing that stage and being exploratory when it's kind of low stakes is so important. So don't get too locked in, and just go what feels, in your gut right to you.
That's right.
Yeah, I love, Gianna, your story of knowing exactly what you wanted to do, because I was so opposite and I was like, what do I want to do? And I think there's such beauty in both journeys. And I love that we have just all these folks in the audience right now who are going through this moment. Because I remember I didn't want to go to college, not because I didn't want to go to college, but because I was terrified of how I was going to afford college. Again, come from a low income area. My parents didn't have money. I call myself on my parents' 401k. And I always joke and I say it with pride, but I was terrified to go to college because I didn't want to be a broke college student, and I didn't have any grants. I didn't have scholarships. And so I ended up applying to all the cheaper schools. San Jose State was one of them, which I love and is now becoming a really prominent school. And so I went to San Jose State. And again, I told you my PR story and how I chose my major. And I think what really helped me, though, throughout my college experience is joining different organizations in college. I joined, like, literally, if y'all take anything away from what I say, please lean into your curiosity and talk to as many people as you can. I can't tell you, I don't know how, but I've converted 5 different people into the PR major, and now they work in PR and they're very successful in their careers. I don't work in PR anymore, but that's the benefit of just talking to people. Like, what are you majoring in? What do you do? What do your classes look like? And I think for me, I joined student government. I was an orientation leader. I did everything under the cookie cutter sun of college. But I think that it really helped me expose myself to this whole different lifestyle, this world, and different people that really almost were little pieces of nuggets in my career and in my journey of just figuring out what I wanted to do. And I still have that to this day. And I'll say one last thing. Every internship, every job opportunity, every opportunity to this day, including this event, has been through someone that I knew. And I'll take it a step further. When someone knows who you are, that's the benefit. So I hope all of you, all 700 plus of you, can connect with Greg, Gianna, and myself after this event.
That's great advice, to take advantage of those opportunities and explore, because you never know what's going to lead to your next career, your next milestone. Our next question is from AC. And AC wants to know, how do I effectively influence my 15 and 17-year-old to think about their futures? I'm disconnected from this generation. They call me a boomer, even though I'm Gen X. That's awesome, AC. Odalise, do you want to take this one? How can we inspire? How can we help this person influence their 15 and 17-year-old to think about their futures? What do you think?
I just want to give you so much love, AC, because my parents are boomers. And I always tell them that, and they're like, I don't know what boomer means. But I'm a zillennial. I'm like the very last cusp of millennial, and I have a lot of Gen Z in me. Cusp baby. I think the way to effectively influence is just to talk to your son, daughter, and listen to what they have to say. And I'm not a parent, so I feel like I am coming from a very different place. But I think one thing that my parents did well was they just allowed me to play. There was no pressure to be a doctor or a lawyer or make the most money in the world, because they didn't know. And for me, it gave me a chance to figure out and play in my career. And I think Gen Z has a whole different set of challenges and a whole different world they're experiencing, because there's the internet, there's so much opportunity. I have a belief that education will somehow shift in the next few years because of so much access to information. But I think sitting down with your son, daughter, and just really understanding, like, what is it that you want to do? And also coming from a place as a parent, instilling that idea that college is so much more than getting outside with a degree. I can't tell you, those 4 years in college has taught me so much about life and people and opportunities, and so much more than just the degree that I took away. It gave me so many life skills. So I don't know if that answers your question, but I think allowing space for them to play in their career and having those conversations and having them understand college is deeper than just major.
I think that's great advice. Just like talking to them and like seeing where their head's at. You know, they might not have any idea, and it sounds like maybe they don't, of what they want to do. So what other like resources can you provide them? And I think there are a lot of other students out there, and we saw from the poll that don't know what they want to do. So if you are unsure of what that next step is going to look like, definitely look at LinkedIn's Kickstarting Your Career report. And you can also start exploring other careers through Big Future Career Quiz. So check out this video for you.
What do you want to do after high school? Is a big question for any student, and it can be hard to know where to start. Big Future is the free online tool that helps students like you start planning for your future, your way. And our career quiz is a fast and easy way to discover some careers that could be a good match for you. The short quiz asks questions about the kinds of activities you enjoy to discover some careers that might best match your interests. Each career profile has income, education, projected job growth information, which you can sort by to tailor your results. And as you find careers you're interested in, you can save them to your list. Visit bigfuture.org/career quiz today.
So you can scan the QR code that's on your screen right now to take that short career quiz. After you take that quiz, you're going to get a list of 30 potential career profiles that you can explore on Big Future. You'll be able to see things like median yearly income, projected job growth, most common education levels. And what I really like is you'll actually be able to see the tasks, knowledge, and skills associated with some of these careers to give you a better understanding of if you're actually going to like doing that. And for those of you who are in the 10th grade and 11th grade, when you save 3 or more careers to your career list on Big Future, you'll be automatically entered into our scholarship drawings for $500,000 and $40,000 scholarships. Again, you just need to save 3 careers to your list. So again, go ahead and get started and scan that QR code that's on your screen. But back to some of our questions here. And we're getting some questions about some specific fields right now. We have a question from Nathaniel. And Nathaniel wants to know, aren't the medical fields growing anymore? Do we see any growth there? What does the report tell us, Gianna?
Yes, we do see growth there. And that's, of course, coming, still off the heels of the pandemic when demand for healthcare talent surged. So the healthcare industry showed as our number 2 top industry for career starters with bachelor's degrees. And some of the top jobs within that field are registered nurse. I know a ton of nurses my age, medical assistant, and behavioral health technician. So there's definitely still demand in the healthcare industry for entry-level talent.
Thanks for that, Gianna. So if you want to learn more, again, access the guide to kickstarting your career on LinkedIn. Odalise, this next one is for you from Jose. Jose really wants to major in business, but he said, honestly, I have no experience in the field besides my parent being a manager of a fast food restaurant. Could I still major in business?
Oh, yes. Jose, yes, you can. If I can major into PR and I had zero idea what it was in the first place, you can definitely major in business, having your parent being a manager of a food restaurant. And I'll tell all of you that there's so many skills that you probably don't realize that you have. Being a project manager, I was like chuckling while Gianna was talking about it, because I think about project management as being, if you work in the food industry, you're a project manager. Having multiple tables, being a waiter, having multiple tables, and one table is about to start eating, the other table is about to stop eating, and the other person needs their tab. That's what a project manager is. It's making sure, is everyone on the train? Is everyone good? Is everyone where they need to be? Do they have the resources that they need, etc.? And so I think, Jose, you are probably coming from a place of really, really cool resources that you have your parent there to answer any questions to help you. So I hope that you do business, and I can't wait to hear about your journey.
Thank you, Odalise. And Jose, I hope that's helpful. You can still major in business. Gianna, this next question is for you. This is from Niji. Is it best to go into a career for the finances or for the passion?
Wow, that's a tough question for sure. I think we get very caught up in this idea of a dream job, and not to be a Debbie Downer, but I definitely bought into that when I was in college, and it felt like something to strive for. But I don't think it exists. I don't think any job is completely perfect. And I think it's a very privileged thing to be able to say that you are in a job that fuels your passion. That's an amazing privilege to have. And that's not something that all of us can afford. If you know, I think in some industries, maybe being more of a creative, and that's very a passion driven industry. So maybe you will go into, you know, the arts or something like that. But I think, especially when you're early in your career, you have to take a step back when you're looking for jobs and say, what is most important to me? Am I chasing purpose and passion? Am I chasing a steady paycheck? And that, of course, depends on your circumstances and what situation you're in. But being really clear on that is incredibly important, and it helps inform your job search strategy and the companies you're targeting. But I think right now, going into college, you don't have to have that completely figured out. You can pursue a major that you're passionate about. That's what I did. And kind of, I worried about the finances later. I think that was something my parents were not that happy about. When I said I wanted to be a journalist, they're like, but be an accountant or be a doctor. And I was like, you know what? I'll figure it out. It'll come. So I pursued that passion. But of course, always coming back to what's most important to you and the circumstance that you're in is really important.
I also want to add to this. I struggle with this passion versus paycheck all the time. And I actually talk a lot about it from a first generation standpoint, where I came from scarcity, which, I mean, again, there's scarcity and there's abundance. And I was chasing this abundant lifestyle with lots of money, and I was just chasing the bag. And what I realized was it got me through college. I mean, I was working 2 to 3 jobs every year to pay for school because it was just out of necessity. I was not passionate about any of those jobs. But I got to a point later in my career where I started to really feel like I could play. Went into that PR industry, worked there for 4 months, and I told you I left, and I was like, this is not what I want to do. And then I went to a different job that was a small business, and it was really cool. And I was like, okay, well, now I'm ready for the next thing. And then I went into big tech, LinkedIn, and then now I'm at TikTok. And I really can say, like, after 5 years of playing in my career, that I'm really at a place where I feel like I'm living in alignment with my purpose, and the paycheck's not bad. And so I feel like I get to have my podcast, I get to have my career. It's not all in one, but you can create this lifestyle where you're still fulfilling your passion and you're still getting that paycheck. You don't have to choose one or the other. It's going to take time. It's not like you're going to get it right away, but don't ever lose sight of that passion, because that's the motivation. That's what's going to get you up. And that's how you can figure out your why, your mission, your purpose. We could talk all about that. But I think there's a world where those two do coexist.
That's amazing advice from both of you. You don't have to pick just one. And thanks for the question. The next question is for you, Gianna, and this is from Giovanna. Do you have any LinkedIn course suggestions?
Yes, absolutely. So if you check out the report at the bottom, there are a ton of courses we linked out to, so you can take a look at those. But LinkedIn Learning is a great resource to explore different career paths if you're interested in, like, what is product management, but also how to gain soft skills, learn how to network, write networking emails, all those things that give us a lot of anxiety when we're starting out. There's a lot of LinkedIn Learning courses that can help you navigate that, especially when it comes to networking, like we talked about. Super important, and gaining those soft skills. There's a lot of great tips there. So definitely check out those LinkedIn Learning courses.
Awesome. Thanks for highlighting those. And on the subject of networking, we have an event tomorrow night as well, and we'll talk all about networking. So make sure you all check that one out too. Our next question will go to you, Odalise. This is from Lena. Lena wants to know, what kinds of things should I do to make my communication and other soft skills even better?
Ooh, when it comes to soft skills, I encourage you to look at your story and look at your background. One of the things that I am really big on owning, coming from the hood, coming from a first generation household, is that I learned how to be creative and resourceful very early on. And I didn't realize those are the two of my greatest strengths in the workplace. I remember getting an event budget for an event that we were doing, and everyone was like, oh my God, what are we going to do with this budget? And I'm like, listen, y'all, the amount of parties that my family put together on no budget we can make something amazing happen with this budget. And it was a team effort and it was a beautiful event. And of course, there were things that were out of budget, but we flexed and we were able to be creative and resourceful. And I think those are two skills that are innately part of me. And those are definitely my soft skills. When it comes to communication, believe it or not, I used to be like a super shy, quiet kid. And that probably comes from being the youngest of 7 and never having an opinion at the table. But I think it also came from just being shy. I mean, having an accent when I spoke and feeling like I was just another ESL student and et cetera, et cetera. And so I think the way to practice your communication skills is to put yourself out there. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be scary. You might get like sweaty and like, you might just be like, I hate this, and keep doing it over and over and over and over again until you realize, oh, I'm kind of good at this. Oh, I kind of like this. And I feel like that's really what happened to me. There were so many moments where I'm like, don't put me in front of an audience. Like, don't put me in front of a camera. Don't do. And then I started to really just speak from a place of authenticity. I don't follow scripts. I don't do anything like that. I used to a lot of the time, but I think now I'm in a place where I can really speak from authenticity, experience, my heart. And that came with 9 years of practice. So I think keep practicing and putting yourself in situations that may feel a little bit uncomfortable and keep doing it over and over again.
Great advice. That's how you grow, right? With those uncomfortable situations. Our next question is from Ella, and this will be for you, Gianna. Which industries would you say are seeing the most job security or job growth?
That's a great question. The truth is no industry, no job is 100% recession proof or layoff proof, which is to say it's important to always build that strong foundation of skills and a strong network to fall back on. If you were to lose your job or enter an industry that experiences a lot of volatility. And those skills can be gained both in and off campus. So through volunteer work off campus, through internships are a great way to really, or fellowships, a great way to really put what you're learning in the classroom into practice and gain those, hard and soft skills. And of course, on campus through extracurricular work, clubs, all of those involvements. I think being really involved on campus for me helped me gain those early career skills that I leveraged when I was then applying to jobs. And I know now I've been able to expand those sense that if something happened to my job, I wouldn't have nothing to prove for it. I gained those skills. I've built my portfolio. I have a network that I can leverage. So always keeping those top of mind and making them kind of part of your day-to-day routine is so important. Making it more habitual than when you need a job is really important. So unfortunately, no recession-proof industries. Otherwise, I think we'd all be in them. But definitely, like I said, gaining those skills and building that network is key.
Great advice, Gianna. And Ella, if you're interested in specific roles as well, you can go into a Big Future career search, and on career profiles, we have projected job growth for some of these positions as well, just to give you a better idea. We have 2 questions. I'm going to combine them. One's from Hanai, and Hanai wants to know what kind of networking activity should high school students be engaging in to prepare for college and career? And Isaac has a similar question. And Isaac asks, what is a good way to network with professionals in the field that you want to go into? Odalise, can you take that one? They're kind of 2 in the same, I would say.
Yeah. First of all, just the fact that you're networking in high school is incredible. And I just applaud y'all. And I really hope that you continue to do that in college and in your future careers. A good way to network with professionals. You all are so blessed to have the internet. And I think that's a huge win. Shout out to LinkedIn. Gianna, LinkedIn. I recommend all of you go on LinkedIn, create a profile. You may not have a lot to add on there, but who cares? Create a profile and start reaching out to people virtually. I think that's just, LinkedIn has opened up the network possibilities times 10. I think also look at the people who are in your surrounding areas, maybe people you went to high school with, that graduated or in college, and you want to learn from from them and what they're doing in college and how their lifestyle is. But I think the best way to network with professionals, and this is just, I think, a tip for everyone, is to know that you may not get anything tangible in response. You're not going to get a job, an opportunity, an offer, none of that. What you will get is insight. And if you continue to build this like routine, I think Gianna mentioned it, if you keep building this like beautiful network of people, some of them may fall off and you may never talk to them again, and that's okay. Some of them that you're like, oh, I really want to build a relationship with Gianna because I love her career path. Nurture that relationship. Keep talking to her, ask her questions, say congratulations when she gets a promotion. All those different things will get you a good relationship and someone who's going to remember you. So that way, when Gianna is hiring on her team, she's going to be like, oh, that girl, she was like so incredible. And we had great conversations and she's really passionate about journalism. Let me hit her up. And so I think that's just a one tip for networking in general. But I think, again, network with people online, Instagram, Twitter. I don't know if anyone uses Twitter anymore, but TikTok. Find different, I mean, TikTok's a great tool too. Find different people on TikTok, follow their journey. And yeah, I hope those tips help.
I just want to add on that note real quick. I think I was really hesitant to network when I was starting out. I was like, what value do I have to add? Nobody's going to take my message. Like, why am I reaching out to these people who are busy? But I think now when I sit back, when anybody reaches out to me, I'm like, oh my God, yes, I would love to talk about my career. I would love to talk about LinkedIn. I'm so open to it. And I think a lot of people not love to talk about themselves, but people are open to helping people who are just starting out. So I think let your guard down there. And also there's so much focus right now and attention on what Gen Z wants out of work. And you guys are all Gen Z. Like, you have that information in your heads. So everybody wants to know what you want out of a prospective employer. And that's the hottest topic right now. So if you're reaching out to somebody at a company, just kind of have that in the back of your head. And like, hopefully that can build your confidence a bit of like, they're probably going to want to know what you were looking for, just as you want to learn from them. So it's not going to be totally equal in all these relationships, but really understanding that you have a unique skill set, you have a unique perspective that other people want to know as well.
100% to everything that both of you said. And to high school students out there who are thinking, oh, what do I have to offer this conversation? You're part of the generation that's changing the world. People want to hear from you. So don't think that you don't have anything to offer. People want to talk to you for sure. And we talked a lot about networking. How do you do it? Give us some examples. We also talked about how do you build a LinkedIn profile? Well, guess what? Tomorrow at Big Future LinkedIn Career Week, we're talking all about networking. So make sure you tune in tomorrow. And then on Thursday, we're going to tell you how to build the best LinkedIn profile for you. So tune in for the rest of the week of events. We have more to come. I can't believe time has flown by. As is customary with all of these events, we like to end with some advice in our last question. So I'd love to ask both of you, what is the most important piece of career advice you have for high school students? I know that's a big question. I'm asking a lot, but I'm asking you to choose one piece of advice. Gianna, what's your one piece?
Oh no, I'm first. Okay. Aside from the focus on skill building and networking, I would just say, give yourself a break. Do not put so much pressure on yourself to have it figured out. I definitely am like type A, OCD, like high achiever, really was like put a lot of pressure on myself. And I'm 2 years into my career and I'm like, I still don't know what I'm doing some days. So don't feel pressure. It'll all work out. Just stay focused and be open to opportunities. Be exploratory in this early stage of your career, like I said, when it's low stakes. And if you try something, it doesn't work out or you mess up, okay, that was a great learning opportunity, move on to the next. I think we put so much pressure on ourselves to find the perfect job or to have everything figured out. You kind of have to silence those voices if there's other people telling you that, and try not to compare yourself to others. Really just focus on yourself and have that clarity. And like I said, just embrace all those opportunities that come your way, because even if it's not something you stick with long term, it's going to give you those skills and that network and that experience that you can bring with you. So yeah, just take a deep breath. It'll all work out, and don't put too much pressure on yourself. We're all figuring it out. Nobody has it figured out.
I love it.
Can I drop this mic for you, Gianna?
Thank you. Please do.
Oh my goodness, how do I follow that? Plus 1,000 to everything Gianna said. I want to give a tangible and something that I think has helped me a lot. Tangible skill, network. I know that networking is not one of my favorite words, and I don't mean networking by being super buttoned up and, you know, acting like someone that's totally not you. I think the real networking and the real relationship building is when you're 100% who you are. It's okay to not know. It's okay to ask questions. It's okay to be in the learner's seat and also realize that you're in this space for the first time. And I feel like we put this pressure to add value, as Gianna was saying, but you're a high school student who's wanting to learn, and you're going to be so surprised how many people are willing to help you. And so network, build relationships. That's the foundation. I think from the other end, I want to be super real about my story. And I don't know if you can see yourselves reflected in it, but I've had a lot of pressure and guilt to succeed. And again, it comes from coming from a place of scarcity, of being the first in my family to go to college, of being the first in my family to have a big, high paying tech salary. I'm making more than my parents had made their 40 years in the US. And so I want to give you all the space to really just sit and rest, because I think we're in, especially as high school students, especially as Gen Z, with so much access to information, to content, to people, the natural comparison will happen. And I think this pressure to succeed is so heavy on all of you, on all of us. And I hope you realize that you can make mistakes and you can fail, and you can fail often. And that does not make you a failure. Keep failing, keep playing, it's almost like a process of elimination. You're going to do things and you're going to realize, I don't really like this. That's okay. Eliminate it. Keep going on to the next. And I think that's life. And as Gianna said, I was very surprised coming into the corporate space, like, oh, none of y'all have this figured out. Cool. I'm not alone. And I just want you all to know we're all figuring this out, every single one of us. So don't have this pressure that you can never fail. I really encourage you all to fail, and fail often, because that's where you really find the growth. That's where you really find the high paying jobs, the salary, the passion, and the career. That's where you can find that world that you want to live in. So fail often.
Awesome. Amazing advice, Odalise, Gianna. Thank you so much for joining us and kicking off Big Future LinkedIn Career Week. We're super appreciative. And thanks to all of our students, parents, caring adults out there. Thank you for joining Career Week. We'd love to hear how today's session went. After this event closes, you'll be automatically redirected to our feedback survey. Please complete it. Let us know how today went for you so that we can make our next events even better. And if you missed anything during today's session, you can watch the recording and register for the rest of Career Week at bigfuture.org/live. And lastly, don't miss tomorrow's event, where we'll talk about the secret to career success, something we talked about all night, networking. You don't want to miss it. Thanks, everyone, and have a great night.